Good afternoon, sir.
Am I right in time?
Uh, yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, and very good
Good.
afternoon, sir.
Very nice. Oh, Desai is also here.
Yes, sir.
Very
Thank
good.
you, sir.
Thank you. Nice to see you, young faces. We are all
Yes.
old faces, habitually got to know only the old. Very nice.
Yes.
Shayanton Das, Asraful Alam, Subrato Bar, Lakshman Gond. Oh, very nice. Lot of people. 31 people. Good. Very nice.
39 have joined, 40 have joined till now.
Oh, wonderful. That's great. You have the other speakers also have they confirmed?
Yes, sir. Dr. Shubhra Sharma, she will join.
Okay. What about Dr. Sati?
Sati,
Not
sir,
yet.
he has some assignment right now,
Okay.
and he will
Oh,
try to join if possible.
okay. Yes. Very good. Very good. I really I really wonder why do you want to listen to old people and why not bring in only young people to talk to you? Because it is always good to have new ideas and uh, new approach because the way you can think, at least I can't think because my thinking is old. And
Sir, always old people are the guiding forces.
they are guiding forces, but I don't want to guide them. The question is that what I want, if they want to take anything and learn anything from me, it is good. But I will not guide them because guiding is not a good thing.
Yes.
Let people be free and let them guide their own destiny and the way they study what they want to study, where they want to go, it should be their choice, not the parents' choice or the teacher's choice.
No, sir, the link which you had sent, it's wonderful. That's why
Yeah.
it was worthy to listen you on this issue.
Okay, I've been writing all these things for a number of days, and several webinar videos are in circulation. But they're all random, and the only difficulty with me is on talking about.
Good afternoon, Madam Sharma.
Oh man, okay.
Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon.
Okay, Kopil, it's 3 o'clock. I think
Yeah.
Yes,
What about Siddiqui sir?
Yes.
I was trying to call him, but he's not picking up the phone.
Okay.
So it's 3:01. I think we should start
Sharma.
now.
Shantanu,
So
I
do
think
We'll try.
before that, just we can try to contact Siddiqui sir
Yes,
again.
yes, definitely.
তুমি একটু ট্রাই করে দেখো না।
আমি চেষ্টা করছি।
হুম।
Sunil sir is trying.
ওকে।
No, he's not receiving phone call. We can start.
Okay, maybe during the closing ceremony, maybe we can try to join him.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So
Okay.
Kopil,
Yes. হচ্ছে কি এটা?
না ইকো হচ্ছে না। Will you start proceeding?
ইকো হচ্ছে, মোবাইলটা অফ করে দিতে হবে, যে কোনো একটা ডিভাইস রাখতে হবে।
না না, আমার এখানে একটা ডিভাইসই চলছে।
অন্য কেউ চালাচ্ছে দুটোকে।
হুম।
Okay,
Already we
start.
have 72 participants. Okay, sir. I think we can start.
It's a big gathering.
Yes, sir. Even some people are in YouTube also, apart from this Google Meet.
Great.
Okay. A very good afternoon to our respected guest of this occasion and our learned speakers and the learned audience. On behalf of the YGF IGI, I'm very happy to welcome you, sir. And today the topic of discussion is disaster in the Himalayan, the Joshimath crisis. As we all aware about the last 1 month incident that Joshimath is subsiding or sinking, but actually we don't know what is happening over there. So we are looking for the answer, and I think in search of this question, today we have very right person, Professor Dhiraj Mohan Banerjee and Dr. Shubhra Sharma, who can give the answer. And I think our uh, delegates and our participants will be benefited from their deliberation. So now I may request Dr. Shantan Das to welcome the guest, Professor Sunil Kumar De, the President of International Association of Geomorphologists, to deliver its lecture. Over to you, Dr. Das.
Thank you, Kapil. So it's an honor to host you all on behalf of the IGI Young Geomorphologist Forum. First of all, I would like to thank our speakers to joining us. And before moving in onto the lectures, I would like to thank especially Professor Sunil Kumar De for being present here as the president of the International Association of Geomorphologists. And obviously, his immense support was very fruitful in organizing this kind of program in such a short time. So, Professor Sunil Kumar De, I'd like to invite you to say a few words regarding this particular session.
Thank you, Shantan and Kopil. I am not here for delivering any lecture. Just I will show some of the activities of the IIG within 2-3 minutes. And after that, I will hand over the platform to the speakers. Just I will show a few slides. On behalf of the International Association of Geomorphologists, I welcome the honorable speakers, the organizers, and the participants in this webinar. You know, this International Association of Geomorphology was founded at the Second International Conference on Geomorphology in Frankfurt in 1989. After that, the constitution of the association was officially approved by the IG General Assembly in Tokyo 2001. And it was after that it was formally approved by the International Geographical Union and International Union of Geological Sciences. We are on the way to apply for the affiliation of the International Science Council. It is replaced by the new constitution in 2019 and IAG General Assembly at the Athens Regional Conference. After that, on March 2019, IAG was recognized as an international non-profit organization with a registered office as Madrid. Many of the organizations still today, they do not have the official, the legal status, but now we have the legal status and we can get these benefits. Since the beginning, these are the presidents of the International Association of Geomorphologists. Firstly, it was the first president was Dennis Bronsden, then Diers Bartsch, then Olaf Schlemacher, Mario Panizza, Andre Gudi, Michael Crozier, Eric Fuesch, Mauro Soldati, and presently it is me. So the main objectives of the IAG is to develop geomorphology through international cooperation, to promote dissemination of geomorphological knowledge between the scientific community and the general public, to provide geomorphological advice to international institutions, to encourage the membership of countries. We do not have any individual membership. We encourage to take the membership of country-wise, to promote geomorphological research and the establishment of working groups on scientific geomorphological topics, to support the training geomorphologist at an early career stage. This is the Young Geomorphologist Forum. And our Indian Institute of Geomorphology is a national scientific member of the International Association of Geomorphology since 2001. So we encourage this national membership, those who have organizations. If any country does not have any organization, we request them to form a group and to form a constitution, and after that, we encourage them to apply for the membership of the IAG. We have Geomorph list about 3,000 members now, all types of these advertisements, different posts throughout the world, postdoctoral fellowship, doctoral fellowship, everything is advertised through this Geomorph list. Then we celebrate this International Geomorphology Week to remember the legal strategy. This year also it is going to be celebrated from 1st to 8th March. We have Memoranda of Understanding with European Geosciences Union, International Permafrost Association, International Union of Geological Sciences, International Geographical Union, American Association of Geographers, Geological Society of America, International Association of Promoting Geoethics, and many others. Now we are on the way to this establish the Memoranda of Understanding with this American Geophysical Union, AGU. We published this newsletter in the form of this IAG highlights. Then we celebrate from the last year, we have started to celebrate this International Geodiversity Day. You know, this IUGS, they have recognized 100 geological sites for the first time in the first volume. They are on the way to publish another volume of another 100 geological sites. So in that committee, the proposal was given by G.B. Jolinski, who was our EC member previously, and also has established the website of this IAG. We have this new members country, and these contacts are in progress with these countries. We established these working groups. We offer some of the initial funds for establishing this working group. If anybody has any unique idea in geomorphology, we encourage them to establish this working group. We have this active and terminated working group this way, and these are the new working groups. Virtual field trips in geomorphology, Andean geomorphology, then Dyna GeoZones. These are the new 3 working groups we have approved. We encourage the young geomorphologists by offering scholarship to participate different conferences, different regional conferences in other workshops also. So by this way, they can get the opportunity to meet with the international geomorphologists, and they can get an opportunity to be an international geomorphologist in future. So these are the ways how can they apply. If they go through the IAG website regularly, they will get all the updates. And we are glad to inform you that till today we have offered more than 250. Here it is 222. It was given. It is up to 22. But in the conference, some more participants have got. So it is about 250 now. Out of this 250, India has got the highest number. It is 28, and plus 6 this time they have got 6. So it is 34 among all the countries who have applied for these scholarships. So the young geomorphologists, those who are present in this platform, I from the IAG, I also suggest them to go through the website and to apply for the scholarships. So these are the countries of these young geomorphologists outside Europe. 3 countries: Australia, New Zealand, India, and South Africa. And out of these 3 outside Europe, India is the most active young geomorphologist group. We have established this young geomorphology group in the year 2018 in Jamia Millia Islamia University, this IGI conference. And after that, every year we nominate one president, one vice president on the basis of their merit, and they run these programs for 1 year. And this is one of the most active working groups, not only in Europe, outside Europe, but also in Europe, throughout the world. So we are happy that this young geomorphologist group under the banner of IGI, they are organizing this webinar, which is a very pertinent topic, and they have selected 2 eminent speakers, Professor Dhiraj Mohan Banerjee and Dr. Shubhra Sharma. They will speak on this issue of Joshimath, which is sinking. We came to know few months back, about 1 month back, that many of the lives and properties are in vain. So without wasting time, I again welcome the speakers and the organizers and the participants of this webinar to listen to the experts. With these words, I thank you very much. I hope this webinar will be a successful one.
Thank you very much, sir. In the meantime, we have another guest, Professor A.R. Siddiqui, our guest for this particular session. So he's the Secretary General of Indian Institute of Geomorphologists, and he is one of our patrons, one of the patrons of Young Geomorphologist Forum of this particular organization. So I'd like to invite you, sir. And sir, if you say a few words regarding this session, we will be very thankful to you.
Thank you, Dr. Santan and Dr. Kapil Ghosh, for making all the effort for Young Geomorphologist Forum. And first off, I would like to thank Professor Sunil Kumar De for organizing this event, because next month we are going to again organize in Kolkata. There will be a program on drone training. So dear participants, there are many new geomorphologists who are connected with this program, and I have forwarded this link to many of groups of geography. There may be some new members and new students. So for them, IGI was founded in 1987 by Professor Savinder Singh, and now IGI is well recognized and affiliated to International Association of Geomorphologists. It is only due to effort of Professor Sunil Kumar De, because IGI provides a platform to our new geomorphologists. And I'm closely observing Professor Sunil Kumar De from 2004 to till 2017. In conference of Paris in 2013, he has submitted a proposal to organize a mega event in India. And in 2017, Professor Sunil Kumar De was the convener of IAG in Vigyan Bhavan. There was a 477 foreign delegates, and there was a 40 participation from 47 countries. I think more than 50 countries were there. So this is the effort of single man, Professor Sunil Kumar De, and he is a Dian of Indian geomorphology and living legend. And I salute Professor Sunil Kumar De for your interest for the enhancement of the career of our new students. So IGI was founded in 1987, but now there is more than 615 life member, and everywhere we are organizing IGI conference, and next year it is proposed in Jawaharlal Nehru University in the month of November, and our president is Professor Milap Chand Sharma will organize this conference. So on the behalf of headquarter of Indian Institute of Gemology, two young gemologists, Dr. Santan Das and Dr. Kapil Ghosh, and whole IGI family. And I would like to request new researcher to be a part of IGI. And on the behalf of IGI, we are able to now, we have already joined, and very well recognized professor is here, Professor Dheeraj Mohan Banerjee. So this is the effort of Professor Sunil Kumar De and our Dr. Santan Das and Kapil Ghosh ji, who has invited Professor Dheeraj Mohan Banerjee, and a very well recognized researcher and gemologist of the country. So on the behalf of IGI headquarters, I would like to welcome Professor Dheeraj Mohan Banerjee, and also Dr. Shubhra Sharma is here. She was in Banaras Hindu Vishwavidyalaya. Now she is in, I think, Gujarat or Himachal Pradesh. I am not having current location of Dr. Shubhra. So Dr. Shubhra, on the behalf of Geography Department and on the behalf of whole IGI family, I welcome you on this platform. I am sure our students, those who are attending, UG student, PG student, they will be benefited after your deliberation related to your topic. Thank you very much, Dr. Santan Das and Dr. Kapil Ghosh, and thank you, Professor Sunil Kumar De ji. I'm a little late because there was some farewell program of lab attendant of my department, so I'm sorry. I joined 7 minutes late. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir, once again for joining us. So we are now moving on to our first lecture. Before that, I'd like to introduce our first speaker of the day, Professor Dheeraj Mohan Banerjee, who is presently working as the INSA Emeritus Scientist. Professor Banerjee is a former professor of geology in University of Delhi, and before that he completed his PhD degree in 1967 from Lucknow University, and he served the Geological Survey of India for a couple of years before joining the Delhi University in 1970. As a fellow of the British Council, Alexander von Humboldt Foundation, and Japan Society for Promotion of Science, he carried out advanced research in the field of Proterozoic and Cambrian sedimentology, sedimentary and stable isotope geochemistry, and which is predominantly related to the phosphate rocks. As a collaborative work with the University College London, he contributed substantially for our understanding of arsenic pollution in the groundwaters of Bengal Delta Plains. He supervised 15 PhD theses before his retirement in 2007. He received Professor R.C. Mishra Lifetime Achievement Gold Medal in 2016 and D.N. Wadia Gold Medal of Indian National Science Academy in 2021. He was elected to the Fellowship of the Geological Society of India in 1967 and the Indian National Science Academy in 2000. And in the same year, that is in 2000, he received the National Mineral Award of Government of India. He served as the INSA Senior Scientist and Honorary Scientist till 2018, and now he is functioning as an INSA Emeritus Scientist. He is a member of the UNESCO IGCP Scientific Board. He serves as the editor of many editorial boards of several scientific organizations and journals. He has done field investigations in many parts of the globe and obviously in India, and he represented India in many geological meetings and conferences. He has published over 200 scientific papers and articles in peer-reviewed journals and technical reports. Apart from several edited volumes he has written, he is one of the 3 authors of the book Tectonics of the Indian Subcontinent, published by Springer. Over to you, sir, for the first lecture. You can present your screen.
Thank you, Santan Das, with too much of praises, which I don't know whether I deserve, but I think you wrote it from my CV. Okay. First correction which I have to make, that I am not a geomorphologist per se. And I find interestingly that the people who are assembled today, they appear to be all of them geographers. I don't think there is any geologist here.
Yes.
And this is a thing which Sunil Kumar Dev must look after, because geomorphology is not only a geographer domain, it is also a geologist domain.
Right, sir.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
We are in boundary, sir.
yeah.
We are in core.
You are not a boundary. You are also full-fledged geomorphologist, part of the thing, but the geomorphology overlaps with the subject of geology, and geologists are very much involved in geomorphological studies. So don't confine yourself only to geographer, and which I find today.
So I hope some geologists are also there, because it is widely circulated throughout
I
India.
don't know, whatever it is. Now,
Yeah.
now, second correction which I have to make, that I am not an expert in the Joshimath case or Joshimath tragedy. The reason being that I have not actually worked on Joshimath. I have worked in that terrain. I have been worked in fact, for my PhD work. I worked in the Kumaon Himalaya, in the Bageshwar Almora area, and then subsequently have guided research in this particular valley in Joshimath area, and also much above in Pipalkoti and Alaknanda. We have worked also in many places down below towards Rishikesh. So I'm conversant with the area. I know the geomorphological features of the area, and I also know the geology of the area, but not to the extent an expert a geologist would need. Expert geology, if I say that I should know that each and every rock type, every stratigraphic formation, and I don't know that much, but I know the overall the area. Now the Kedarnath, this Joshimath tragedy, which what we call it as a tragedy, it was bound to happen. There was nothing new about it. We already knew that it is going to happen. As early as 1985, there was a big splash of a Gohana Lake. Gohana Lake up in the upper reaches had breached and had brought up enormous amount of the glacial till and glacial moraines and broke away everything on its way. And there were many other flash floods in the region. The well-known flash flood in Alaknanda region, in which the places like Rishikesh and other people, and even in some places in the upper reaches in Alaknanda and also in Mandakini, they were affected. So these things are happening, and this will keep on happening in the Himalaya, because the Himalayas are young mountain. Himalaya is not a mature mountain like in peninsular Indian mountains or the Vindhyan mountain ranges or Nilgiris and other places. This is a young mountain. It is growing. It is still rising, and it is still not adjusted to its position. So it is still adjusting. It is almost like it is. You can say after when you sleep and then you start getting up in the morning, you start moving a little bit, and that it keeps moving every now and then when he wants to wake up. So this waking up of the Himalaya is what we call as the earthquakes, or we call it the landslides, or we call it the flash floods. These are some of the waking effects of the Himalayan region. So people knew about it, and we knew about it. There is a publication in 1936, 38 publication by two stalwarts of geology called Professor Albert Heim and Arnold Ganser. It was published it clearly says if you see the page 649 and 50, I can show it also here sometime. It's very clearly written in the section from going to a Joshimath from Kedarnath, from Rishikesh. is totally unstable. This is rock. It is made up of rocks which we call as the phyllites and schist. And we- Joshimath itself of course is situated on a rocky basement, but the rock is not. The rock is covered by a landslide. The basement is, of course, a granitic rock or a gneissic rock, which is stable, but there's an enormous amount of landslide which has covered the area, and this landslide has not settled. If you know, if you those people who understand a bit of sedimentology, they will say when a ripple marks, if they know how the ripple marks is formed, or they may know how a sand dune is formed. Now, sand dune, if you see that when it starts forming, it has got a particular angle of repose. And then after years, it starts settling down, the height of the crest decreases. And then finally it settles at about 30-degree angle. So this is called a stable angle. 30 degree is a stable angle. Anything more than 30 degree is unstable. Now, if you see the mountain slope in the Joshimath area and other area, the slope is as much as 40, 45. So these landslides have not stabilized, which people thought that it has been stabilized, and they recommended okay and go and make houses there and buildings there. But that is a wrong information. That is wrong information. The contractors who gave the advice, local administrator who gave the advice, the district magistrate gave the advice. So these are the people who advocate, okay, you can go ahead because this is nice to construct. But they never listen to geologists. They never listen to geomorphologists. And there is a report, Mishra committee report was already there in, I think, I don't remember the day. I think it's about 10 years old, 10 or 15, 10 or 12 years old. Mishra committee report is clearly mentions that no construction should be made on this side. No heavy construction should be done on that. Similarly, there were also other reports from Geological Survey of India, which they have declared that this entire section of this Alaknanda Valley, the entire section of this Bhagirathi Valley, is a weak zone. Tectonically, structurally, a weak zone. No heavy construction should be made here. No. So when Joshimath was started long ago, maybe historical time, there will maybe, and when perhaps our Shankaracharya build the temple there were perhaps about 10, 20 houses there. Gradually rose to 30, 40 houses. That means the total population may be about 200 or 300 person. Now, what's the population now in Joshimath? 25,000, more than 25,000. So it has crossed the load-bearing capacity. It cannot bear that capacity. People have constructed four-story houses. You have built there, as you have seen in newspaper. They also we are removing that. They are breaking the five-star hotel which they have made it. There were so many other buildings which were constructed for which the area was not good. It was not supposed to form there. And why it is happening? It is very clear that when the rain is falling on the mountain range, it percolates down into the rock or into the soil, and then it moves under the soil, and gradually, finally, it ends up into the Alaknanda River. Finally, goes into the riverbed. Now, before going to the river, it passes through the muck, that irregular muck, which see, when there is landslide, the rock materials is never sorted. It is unsorted material. Water goes through this unsorted material, eroding the particles, eroding the sand grains. Where is the safer place? There is no safer place in the whole of in this region, because all those mountains, if you go from Joshimath northward, there are a series of landslides and series of moraines which have been plain. The glacial moraine glaciers are not. So all those materials are all unstable. They are all loose. They are all not consolidated. They have not indurated. They have not become hard rock. Their capacity to take load is very low. So And in spite of that, people are living there, but people living scattered over the area. They one house may be about 30 meters or 50 meters away from the other house. Unlike in Joshimath, where there is a series of houses, one after the other, number of houses are in a sort of way, in a lane or streets and everything. So all those villages are in an unstable area, and they will also suffer. But anyway, in spite of that, people will. I will say that people will continue to live that because it may be very difficult for people to move out of a house which they have built after sort of a making savings of over life and then constructing it out. They may say, okay, we will face you, dekha jayega, whatever happens. Similarly, people in the earthquake zones in the whole of the Southeast Asia, there is an earthquake is going on every day, but doesn't sort of deter people to live there. People live on the coastal areas where we know the tsunami will come anytime, but even then people live there, knowing that there will be a wave. Similarly, they know that there will be sinking of our basement, and there will be an earthquake in this area because whole of the Himalaya is in seismic zone 5. That means anytime any big earthquake can happen, and it has been happening. You had a Nepal earthquake, very severe earthquake. Only a few days ago there was a earthquake of a 5.8 magnitude. So it is going on. So in spite of the fact that there is danger, people still live. For example, in Delhi is also earthquake-prone zone 4. But the capital is being built. This has been going on. They are making it. They are everything. They are, in spite of the fact that there is. So people will survive wherever they are, and they will continue to live. And the disaster will keep on happening. Disasters that have happened in recent past. You have that Tapovan crisis. You had removal of that entire hydropower was washed out, was done. Then you had the Alaknanda, this Kedarnath tragedy, where by almost you can say it may be God grace or something that Kedarnath temple was saved. But didn't you see the amount of tragedy, amount of people who died on that, and amount of destruction which took place on that area. So there is no way you can stop tragedies in the Himalayas. Only thing that try to listen to geologists, try to listen to geomorphologists. Say if there is a mountain slope, to see the stability of the slope, see the quality of rock which is there, see the capacity of the rock to bear a particular load. And these studies are available. It is not that people have not done the work. People have not calculated them. They are available. But the unfortunate part is that our engineers think that they know everything and they can construct everywhere, wherever they want, and they take pride that we can construct anywhere. But we are forgetting that they don't know geology, they don't know the earth. They may know the techniques of your earth engineering, but they don't know the slope and the mountain and its activity of the mountain, how it is going to affect. If they don't listen to them, listen to these advices, so this tragedy will be an ongoing process for years to come. Many people say, oh, they are making big tunnels in the Alps. They are making highway roads in the Alps. Go and show me a single 4-lane highway in the Alps. Nowhere, none of the countries where the Alps is moving, whether it's in Austria or it is in France or in part of Switzerland or anywhere, nowhere there are four-lane thing. In spite of the fact that Alps is a much more stable mountain, as compared to the Himalaya. Alps is a stable mountain. It is much older than Himalaya. So they don't make it. Secondly, and therefore the Himalaya, which is a much more younger mountain, which is still formating, Alps are not rising anymore, but Himalaya is still rising. And rising means there is a disbalance, and there is a disbalance of the Earth's surface. So when there is balance on earthquake, there will be earthquake, there will be mountain, there will be glacial what you call it, avalanches. Only yes, today's newspaper you can see there is a big avalanche has fallen in the upper reaches of the region. Only today itself. So these will keep on doing, and plus at the same time, there's a climate change is taking place. Climate change will bring in more and more glaciers, more and more avalanches, and there is absolutely inadvisable to construct a heavy hydropower in the upper reaches. In just because the Chinese are making in Brahmaputra region number of dams, we are also trying to build dams here everywhere. Not advisable. Do it at a lower level, not at the higher level. All those things. Similarly, the roads also should be confined to only lower level, broadening in the lower level, not going to the upper level. Because in our Hindu mythology, it is good that the government is trying to help tourists to visit Badrinath, Kedarnath, or Gangotri in large number. But you see, what will be the consequence if you have a 4-lane road up to Badrinath or Kedarnath? These Mercedes and your BMWs will go right up to the door of the mountain of the temple, and then they will take out their pizza there and eat and throw the garbage there. What is going to happen? So this is not a very good thing, because see, in Hindu mythology or Hindu practice, it is always that you should toil hard to reach the God. To reach a God, you must work hard. Now, if you don't work hard, if you go with a Mercedes and right up to the temple, where is the hard work? You just simply climb the 4 steps of the temple and bow before the God. No, people say they must go and travel through the trails of the mountains and then go through it, and then that is then you get the punna. You don't get the punna unless you suffer a little bit of it. So this is the Hindu mythology. This is our culture, not a mythology, our culture, that in order to strive and get something good out of sort of a ashirvad from the God, that you must toil hard. It is not good to have. It is government is very happy that they want to make everything connected. It is a very good way to doing it. But you see, the consequence is not very happy. So that with this, I say I must close now. Thank you.
Shantan.
Yes, sir. So thank you, sir, for your extensive deliberation. So now it's a request to the audience to ask questions, or if you have some query, you can ask, sir.
I have no question. You have raised, sir, very valid points. And about 2 months back, there was a conference of engineering geology in Kolkata.
Yeah.
And I talked the similar way, because the engineers, they do not want to listen all these scientists. They do their own work from their own.
Yeah.
This is right. Thank you, sir, very much for this valuable talk.
Any other clarification if people want to do?
From the young researchers,
Particularly from young researchers.
Sir, I want to ask one question.
Sure, why not?
Sure.
Good afternoon, sir.
Introduce yourself.
Sir, myself Suraj. I am working in Kurukshetra University.
Okay.
And also a PhD scholar.
Hmm.
Sir, I am working on landslide in Kullu Manali region.
Good. Good.
So I just want to ask, is it the safer place than the Uttarakhand Kullu Manali region? Is it stable?
No, both are exactly the same. Both
Same.
have same problem, same way. The Kullu Manali area also has got the same rock type, similar type, same chase flights, and same nicest rock. Kullu Manali is as unsafe as Uttarakhand.
So the sinking process may happen there also.
Yes,
Can you say that?
it will happen. see, not only thinking is one of the manifestations. Singing is one of the. There may be a total destruction also. There could be a total. Earthquake may topple up all the houses at one go. Now you are having only sinking, and few houses are getting cracks, and then get. But if there is a little bit of earthquake, then all these series of houses will be destroyed. So all of the same problem they are going to suffer in the Kullu Manali area. They are continuously adding roads and hotels and everywhere. But with same thing has happened in the Mussoorie area. Same thing is happening in Nainital area. Nainital already started cracking. There has been reports in different cracks which is coming up in the area. And secondly, all these mountain uh, villages, as I spoke in my talk, that they're either located on the stabilized landslides, or they are on the moraines, the mountain moraine, or some of the old lakes, like lakes which have been dried up. Now lakes are very unstable. You have got clay into that, and therefore that makes the surface very, very amenable to slippage.
Uh, Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you.
Sir, just I have one thing to know. As we see the disaster report in Uttarakhand, then the number of incident is increasing day by day. So, what about the Char Dham project, that road and railway project of Char Dham? What is the future of this project?
No, no, see, yeah, I clearly explained to you, the Char Dham project is perhaps a very laudable thing from the government point of view, because they want that all those people who want to worship in these places, Badrinath, Kedarnath, and the Gangotri, they can go and drive right up to the mountain, right up to the temple, so that they don't have to climb up and or have a problem or like that. But it's a very good idea. But must also see the what you call pro and cons. Pros and cons. What are the pros and cons? The one is thing that you are taking them to the right those areas, but at the same time you will be creating a environmental hazard, a big environmental hazard, because people will go do picnicking there. Now, picnic in the Badrinath mountain region or in the Kedarnath, you can imagine what is going to happen. And right here in any small picnic, you see that they throw all the garbages all around. Your coke bottle or your beer bottle will be
Plastic.
thrown this way or that way. It will be a horrible place to. That the pristine environment, pristine, calm, quiet environment of where people can go and worship will be gone. So it will not be. They never do it anyway. You have to climb always. They should take it to some place. So maybe, but there should be a. They should not take it to the right up to the temple or
Oh,
something.
thank you, sir. Thank you.
Uh, Sachin Unial has raised a hand. Sachin, are you there? Will you ask anything? You have already put a query in the messages.
Yes, sir. I want to ask something.
Yes.
Good
Yes.
afternoon, sir.
Yeah. Good evening.
I am Sachin, sir. I am MA second year student of JNU,
Mm-hmm.
and I am from Uttarakhand, Tiri Gadwal.
Mm-hmm.
Sir, I just want to ask what is going to be the future of Joshimath?
I explained that Joshimath will remain where it is. Somehow houses will be torn down. Some hotels will be gone, and to a great extent, the Joshimath tragedy is of their own making. You perhaps do not know that there was a plan. The original plan to go to Badrinath was not through the village, not through Joshimath. It was down below into the river valley, parallel to the river, bypassing the Joshimath. The entire Joshimath traders, they protested against it. They say because if there all those people who go to Badrinath bypass Joshimath, their business will be gone, because all those people who go to Badrinath or Kedarnath, they all stop at Joshimath.
Yes.
And this is called like a roji roti. Roji roti depends on that. Now that will be gone. So they invited the tragedy for themselves by not allowing the road to be constructed parallel to the river below the Joshimath village itself. So Joshimath will remain there. People will not go away. Those buildings which have been sort of develop cracks and other thing, they will be demolished and they will reconstruct it somewhere else. Also, they will remain. There's so many thousand people living there cannot go away. Where will they go? There any place where they can go? Can they all be rehabilitated in the Dehradun or Rishikesh or the Haridwar? They cannot. So, what will they do? What will be their vocation? How will they making the earnings? So, it will remain there. It will remain there, except that there will be, for some time, there will be halla gulla and all that, and then everything will become quiet.
And sir, one more thing, as you have said in your lecture, that the road should not be constructed in Himalayas.
No, certainly roads should be constructed. How can you say that a road could not be constructed? But
Like
not the 4-lane road.
Like a four, sir. But one more thing is there, that as we have constructed road,
Yeah.
so sir, the road accidents which we are seeing before that, they are very much, which is also disaster.
Yes. Yeah,
So
that is a disaster, because that is 4-lane means people will go with 120-kilometer speed. People will, just like what they are doing in that intercity house, Agra, Delhi, and Bombay road. People are driving at 120-kilometer speed, 130-kilometer speed. And the world's highest number of people, India is on the top where people die with car accidents.
yes, sir, road
So,
accident.
and there will be more and more accidents in the mountain region. Now we have a problem that we have got narrow straight. Sometime bus falls into the gorge because of the narrow road. But make it double lane, so that the crossing is not. But to make it 4-lane, it is
There is no point, sir.
no, there's
I agree.
no reason. I mean, they should make it 2 at least. They should definitely widen it. There's no reason they should not be widening. Because at least the 2 buses can go. One bus coming and one bus going up and one bus coming down should be easily. But to have 4 lanes, that means you have cars and buses and everything all competing with each other, and then making a hell out of it. So that is the reason. I very much appreciate the government's plan that they should give facilitate travel to these places. People look at you have instead of that, if you have helicopter services, that is much more convenient. That only selected people will go. But this 4-lane means actually you are facilitating people who have got big cars.
Yes.
You are facilitating big cars, big people, big rich people. Adanis and other people should go on that.
Yes. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir. And before moving to our next lecture, I would like to have a query. Sir, just about a month back, I went to this Eastern Himalayas, Sikkim and the other parts, and I have seen extensive tunneling work is going on for the railway project.
Yeah.
So Sikkim will be connected in the railway network of India. Now, how these extensive tunneling works are affecting the geology of this particular part, although this is not related with Joshimath.
No. Why not? Joshimath also has got a tunneling there. They are also having a train. They are going to train.
Yes.
Only thing that the technology is now available. Technology is now worldwide available. Like to drill without much of blasting, they can do. The problem is that if you do blasting, the rocks become very unstable. And even in this Sikkim area, when you go by road, you see there are hundreds of rockfall. Anytime you go by a bus or by a car, you will be stopped at least in 2 or 3 places. You have to wait for some time, an hour, so that it will be cleared. So it is a good thing that if you get a train through that. But again, those areas where they have got loose rocks, they have to be very, very careful, and they have to adopt new techniques, modern techniques, not the conventional blasting techniques. If they do the most modern techniques, hopefully it will be safe. But anyway, in the Himalaya, nothing is safe.
Shandanda, just moving through the next lecture, we can take another question from Atant Kumar.
Okay.
Hello,
Hello?
can we listen?
Yeah, yes.
Sir, I am Atyant Kumar. I am a third semester student from Allahabad University, Geography Department. Sir, I have a question that in whole region Himalaya, Shivalik or Lesser Himalaya, what other places like Joshimath that we can call that this place will be the next Joshimath? What other places we can find?
You see, Nainital has already been singled out. Nainital is already having a problem. Entire region, you see, you cannot say exactly. Joshimath is a place where there is a sinking there, but it has already happened in many other places. It has also happened earlier also. It is not that it is happening today only. It is happening only because the big houses got affected, but small houses were being affected for several years together. Last few years, everywhere some sinking was already there. Right in the Kumaon Himalaya, there is a place called what is its name? Garbyang. Garbyang in the upper part of the Himalayas. Garbyang, the whole village is sinking from years together. As not from last 30 years, it is sinking. The whole village is sinking. So similar rocks have been sinking. Some minor adjustments, minor things were happening. Minor houses were destroyed, and people were also complaining it, and then finally getting it repaired and going on. But in Joshimath case, the things have become little larger because of the big hotels and big houses and big 4-story houses or 5-story houses which they built, which they should not have done it. If they would have remained a small single story houses one after the other, just like what you hear in the Swiss Alps. When you go to Switzerland, you see the whole mountain is dotted with small houses, each one of them about 200 to 300 meters apart. So that type of scenario would have been wonderful. Unlike like a closed city, the way the Joshimath is, you have got narrow lanes and no drainage. Nobody cared about the drainage. The drainage is also going into the same rock types, everything. So naturally, things had to happen. This is nothing unusual. What has happened? There is something which but government could not have done anything except that the construction work which they are doing it, including the tunneling which they are doing it and all that, they should have taken care of the geology. And I don't know, I have no idea exactly how much geological input they had. Maybe they should have. They normally consult the Engineering Geology Division of Geological Survey of India, because they are available in every houses. Every authority, district magistrate house and the other places house or the commissioner's house and everywhere. But nobody bothered to look into that. It remained so everywhere in the Himalaya. The situation is nothing very different. Where Shivaliks are also as unstable like the higher Himalaya. The lesser Himalayan portion is slightly better, where you have the hard rocks, where you have got the quartzites, or where we have the granites and other. They are comparatively much more stable, where you can build a little bit of bigger house. But these rocks are also associated with the schists, and schists have got a parallel, the cleavage planes, and the cleavage planes make them amenable to water passing through those cracks and fractures and make them unstable. So that is the problem. That is the problem with all the Himalayan area. One has to be very, very careful and don't make it a crowded place. Mussoorie has become such a bad place now. Mussoorie used to be a wonderful small houses, but now they have made some multi-stories hotels and other things, and they are going to suffer very soon. Okay, I think have I answered you?
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. I think we can
May
move
I
to
ask
the
a
next.
question? Sayantandas,
Yeah,
may I ask
sure,
a
sure.
question?
Ilangbam.
I am Ishwarjit from Sikkim University.
Uh-huh.
So it's a nice deliberation. Sir, just a light, is a very simple question. And we are hearing nowadays and many incidents and disaster associated with the religious places. Why it is happening? Uh, it is happening in such a religious, mostly in the religious places.
Not
So there are
really.
many other. Why I'm saying, sir. So there are many urban center also, which is growing and rapidly urbanized in the Himalayan region. And like one of the urbanized rapid urbanization taking place in the Sikkim, where you may find in the Gangtok modern, 11-story, 10-story, everywhere very congested also. And but such a religious place, but urbans now it is also like a very vulnerable. Whereas and I've been hearing such disaster associated such a religious places. Why it is taking? I mean, question is that it is urbanization where we see some capacity of the people, how they build, how they care about their building construction, and whereas in the religious such kind of the scientific interventions are not allowed, or because of the other reason, or it is the something like the it is a place which is very, I mean, it is very
What
important
is your
for
question?
the people.
What is your
Question
question?
is that question is that why these incidents and the disasters are much related with the religious places. So that's my question.
So it's nothing to do with religious places. You see, religious places, all religious leaders or the big religious founders, they always constructed their temples or the abode in a very inaccessible areas where they always try to make it so that everybody, people, they don't get disturbed. So that is why on the top of the mountain, top of the hill, like you have a Kedarnath, Badrinath, or even in Sikkim area. I have traveled through Sikkim area, whole of the Sikkim have seen. Those monasteries there on the up, very high, they are made like that so that they can remain in isolation and they can remain peaceful and quiet. Now, when people would like to go to those places by modern means, then naturally these things will happen. Now, in order to climb up to a monastery, if most of the people should have actually climbed 200 300 steps. Now they don't want to climb the 200 300 steps. They want to go right at the gate of the monastery. So when they want to get a monastery, they will have to make a road. And when they make a road, there will be a roadside dhaba. And when there is a roadside dhaba, there will be a hotel there. And then when there is a hotel there, there will be a person who will be living there. So a small township will come up next to the monastery. So that is how the religious bodies are concerned. It is not the fault of the religious temples or other places to construct in such place, or they are not responsible for it. They are there. We people are making inroad into their solitude, into their peaceful environment, and then creating problem. And whole of the Sikkim, full of landslides. I have seen north, south, east, west. I have traveled extensively. Actually, I was invited by the government, the chief secretary, for making a study of landslide about 20 years ago. So we made an extensive study. We mapped almost all that. There is not a single road in the Sikkim which is not affected by 10 or 20 landslides. Everywhere it is landslide, is all unstable. So whole of the area is very, very vulnerable for that reason. And the capital itself is now, they are also constructing one of the other places. The university is now being constructed. Now the vice chancellor is a good old friend of mine. So he said, we are now working from a small house neither, but we are making another building. No, why are you making building? Don't make buildings. You try to remain in small places and conduct your classes. Purpose is to sort of give education, not to have a building. So this is what is happening now.
Sir, my question is little bit, I mean, where I just want to see that address that the issue is that. So rapid urbanization, like I took the Sikkim, where you have seen the many buildings and the stories about more than the 10 stories. And the whereas that religious place is a divine, that the one who predict that this place is a safe and attain some kind of the spiritual that values or something which is already predicted, like Sikkim is also predicted by the gurus, by the one of the gurus, that this is there would be a kingdom. Then somehow after much later there was a kingdom was started. So means religious, Sikkim, we have seen many places in the Himalayas seen that kind of the rapid urbanization. Whereas, there is no such kind of the cases. Cases are there, landslide took place and involved with the many casualties also. But nowadays, such religious places, facing such kind of disaster. And this is how I just want. It is a question. This is because of the cross the threshold of the capacity of the area.
These places are facing disaster.
Dr. Ishwarji, Professor Saab already has given answer. There is nothing relation with the religion, but it is related to geographical location. I think Professor Dheeraj Mohanji already has given answer.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Sir, if there is need of judicial approval instead of administrative approval for the construction of any big project, I think take an example of Noida. There was two buildings and destroyed after the judicial after the judgment of Honorable Supreme Court. So, is there need of judicial approval instead of administrative approval for the construction of any big project in vulnerable area?
How come?
I think in any big project there should be approval of at least 5 members of judges for the implementation of project. Because after the happening of any disaster, there is a PIL and public move to courts.
Let me stop you and answer you right in the beginning here. Judges have a qualification of a law degree. They have nothing. They know nothing about the science. Not a single judge knows anything about the science. How can judges give a verdict for a project?
Yes, again there may be here. Yes.
Judges should not be involved into this thing. Why everybody thinks that the judges know everything? Judges give you
to that why the interventions of the court and all. But someone scientists can file the petitions against that kind of the construction that can be decided in the court with the evidence and all. So this is how that court.
This is the unfortunate part of our system. What we cannot do anything. Whatever is available, we have to follow within that. People, even the scientists, will also go to the court to get relief, because everybody thinks that the final answer is given with the court. This is unfortunate, because something which is in the domain of administrators should function. Scientists, if they should remain within their function. Why everybody should go to court for everything? Court is not for everything. Court is meant for the legal and nowhere in the Constitution is written that the construction will not be done. Nobody will say that the road will not be constructed. Nobody will say that this dam should not be constructed. It is because what is court? Court is interpreting the Constitution. In Constitution, it is not written that dam should not be constructed. It is there, it is to be constructed. But it is the scientists who will tell you, or the administrator will tell you, that where it should be constructed and how it should be constructed. The engineers will tell you how it will be constructed and where it will be constructed by the geologist or the scientist.
Yes,
yes. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. I think we are going through late. So I think we have a lot of questions and we can continue this discussion for an hour. So thank you, sir. Thank you so much for your nice deliberation and for a wonderful discussion, I must say. So we can move to the next speaker. I request Dr. Shantan Das to introduce our next speaker. Over to you, Dr. Das.
Thank you, Kapil. Now, I would like to introduce our second speaker of the day, Dr. Shubhra Sharma from Physical Research Laboratory, Ahmedabad, where she's engaged as an assistant professor in the Geosciences Division. Dr. Sharma did her PhD from the Faculty of Physical Sciences of Himachal Pradesh University and Warrior Institute of Himalayan Geology in 2016, and she worked extensively on the landslides zones in the Himachal Pradesh state. After completing her PhD, she got the National Postdoctoral Fellowship by DST, and she joined PRL, or Physical Research Laboratory in Ahmedabad, doctoral fellow. She was selected for Inspire Faculty Scheme in 2017 by DST, Government of India, under Earth and Atmospheric Sciences, as a part of which she joined ISAR Mohali. And later on, she joined as an assistant professor in the Department of Geography of Banaras Hindu University in the year 2019. Her special areas are geomorphology, earth surface processes, quaternary environments, animal adaptations, and remote sensing and GIS. She is now currently guiding 2 PhD scholars. Dr. Sharma is a recipient of Dr. J.G. Negi Young Scientist Award in 2020, and she is currently investigating 3 projects awarded by ACRB on late quaternary glaciation in northwestern Himalayas, by DST for a project on the past floods in the Himalayas, and by the Institute of Eminence of BHU on reconstructing the pattern of Holocene climate variability from relic lake sequence in the central Himalayas. She has published over 25 scientific papers and articles in peer-reviewed journals and technical reports, and these journals include Geomorphology, Quaternary International, Paleogeography, Paleoclimatology, and Paleoecology, Quaternary Science Reviews, Geomatics, Natural Hazards and Risk, Boreas, etc. She is presently associated as a reviewer of Quaternary Science Reviews, Holocene, Journal of Earth System Science, Journal of Maps, Himalayan Geology, Quaternary International, Journal of Geological Society of India, and Open Quaternary. So now I'd like to invite Dr. Shubhra Sharma for her lecture on this particular Joshimath crisis. Over to you, Dr. Sharma. You can show your presentation.
Yeah, thank you so much, Syatan. Okay, thank you so much for the kind introduction. I'll just start sharing my screen. Could you just confirm it's visible in slide mode?
It is visible.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, so good evening, everyone, and thank you for giving me this opportunity to come here and talk to such a vibrant audience and share the dais with the experts. So I would be talking about the Joshimath crisis, which we have been hearing over past few days, weeks in the media. But before that, I would like to kind of give a brief background about the physical vulnerabilities of the Himalayan region, which make this terrain prone to disasters and hazards. And then I'll talk about the Joshimath crisis. Just I want to mention, you're seeing the Nanda Devi forehead, as we say. It's the Nanda Devi mountain just above the Joshimath town in the background. Okay, so the Hindu Kush Himalayan region that we all know as the third pole, also this is the yellow boundary of that. It is very much prone to disasters. Some studies have reported that as high as 76 disasters per year occur in this region. If you want to classify these disasters into different or hazards into different categories, they can be 2 major categories: hydrometeorological and geophysical hazards. So hydrometeorological would include extreme precipitation events, glacial lake outbursts, floods, landslides, and when these landslides, they dam the rivers or the minor tributaries, creating a lake, the lake bursts to cause landslide, lake outburst, floods. Also avalanches, rain over snow phenomena that also leads to avalanches in the Himalaya and again leading to hazards and disasters. Also permafrost melting, not much research has been done on permafrost in the Himalayan region. We don't even have a fair idea about its extent, but they are known to cause slope failures. And then, of course, geophysical hazards are there where we talk about the earthquakes and earthquake-generated landslides, which again would lead to the loss. As you can see, all these hazards, they are not independent of each other. The processes, they are often intermingled, and one hazard may lead to another hazard, and something we call as the cascading hazards or the multi-hazard environment for the Hindu Kush Himalayan region. So here the orange part that you're seeing in this digital elevation model, this is the upper Ganga catchment where we have the town of Joshimath located. In terms of hazards or disasters, we talk about the vulnerabilities. Now, vulnerabilities, again, they can be physical or the natural vulnerabilities, and they can be social. The social aspect of it is also very important, which help us to identify the most vulnerable zones, populations, and also make policy and mitigation measures per se for that. But here I've taken it from Vedya 2019, which suggests that over 50% of the slopes, they are steeper than 20 degrees. The average slope is steeper than 20 degrees. Now, it's not just the slope angle that make these slopes vulnerable, but also because there are a lot of seismicity because of the plate tectonic movement in this region. These rocks are weathered, they're jointed, and also these slopes, they are overburdened by the sediments, which increase their vulnerability. And of course, we know that this is a tectonically active region with Indian plate colliding with the Eurasian plate, and we have microseismicity all along the Himalayan arc, mostly concentrated in the around the zone of main central thrust that you're seeing here. So here, it's again a slice of the digital elevation model where I've plotted the seismicity data from USGS website, and the size of the circle relates to the magnitude. Now, seismicity, of course, it becomes important when you talk about the earthquake per se, a big earthquake, large earthquakes, but the microseismicity, which we may not even feel in our day-to-day life, that is also very important for this region. Why? Because it does make the slopes and the terrain more vulnerable, the slopes more vulnerable, and kind of preconditions the ground for any triggering mechanism, be it extreme precipitation or a cloud burst to cause a hazard. Also, as I said, that Hindu Kush Himalayan region, it has a multi-hazard environment. These hazards and disasters, they're interrelated with one another. They're coupled with one another. You cannot see one process in isolation. So it's often seismicity, landslides, they're coupled with the fluvial systems. For example, when we talk about the large or moderate landslide, they're often concentrated along the physiographic transition. That means if you move from south to north, the highest orographic barrier along the higher Himalayan ranges would offer the major orographic barrier or the physiographic transmission. There you have moderately steep weathered slopes. It bears the onslaught of the Indian summer monsoon, and we have the creation of large to moderate landslides. That is what is shown in this particular graph, also relationship between landslide, elevation, and slope. So as you can see, on x-axis we have elevation, and on y-axis we have the landslide density. It's not that landslide density is, it's not directly correlated with elevation. It is somewhere concentrated below 3,000 meters, and slope is also moderate, 55 to 65 degree. This is study by Roback et al. And also there's not one-on-one correlation with the earthquakes. Say, for example, in Gurkha earthquake that happened in 2015, this study was on that. It mapped the landslide generated thereafter, which is the second graph here, and it found that the maximum number of landslides were not around the epicenter of the earthquake, but away from the epicenter, from where the earthquake was generated, and the depth of the rupture was more there. So the idea here that I'm trying to give here is that these processes, they are not very simple. They appear in a very complex manner. So that does make this terrain difficult to understand also, and vulnerable as well. Another aspect is that higher Himalaya, it may have lesser number of landslides, but because its slopes are steep, these landslides, they often run out to larger distances. They are capable of being more hazardous. They tend to block the rivers more often, leading to lull-offs. So it's not that if you are having more number of landslides, it would always translate into bigger disaster. So again, to give an idea that relationships are often complex in this terrain and need to be carefully looked into. On top of these geological vulnerabilities, we also have the vulnerability of the climate change, which we all are dealing as a global population. So if you talk in context of the Hindu Kush Himalayan region, the annual mean precipitation in the last 60 years, it has been increasing. And also the first graph that you are seeing here, it shows us the wet day anomaly, the blue bars. That means how many days, the number of days when the rainfall was above the average. So basically the number of days where the extreme precipitation has happened is also on a steady rise. It is on an increasing trend. And the second graph here shows the temperature trend. We know that globally the temperature are rising, but interestingly, the temperature rise for the Himalaya is far much greater than, for example, the Peninsula India. Here the grayish bars are for Himalaya and orange bars are for India. And you can see the rise in temperature for the Himalaya, something we call as the elevation dependent warming, is much greater for the Himalayan region, making it more vulnerable. Often we know that higher temperatures, they translate into melting glaciers, something that is shown in this particular graph. This is from Balch et al. 2012, published in Nature. They plotted, based on remote sensing data, the trend of glaciers all across the Himalaya, right from east to Karakoram. And you can see the downward dipping trend that is suggestive of the recessional trend of the glacier, except perhaps for the Karakoram region, where the trend is more complicated for various reasons. I'm not going to detail for that. But yes, temperature is affecting the glaciers, which is shrinking, often leading to generation of glacial lakes, which again burst to lead to disasters. Another important Now, these moraines or these sediments, they are sitting idle in these valleys, stored like a dynamite, waiting for a trigger. Often this trigger comes in form of a cloudburst or extreme rainfall, as we have seen in 2013, mobilizing all this sediment into the downstream areas and destroying whatever is coming in its way. So both these regions, they become very critical when we are talking about the climate change and rise in frequency as well as magnitude of the extreme precipitation events. This is just again to emphasize how even a small stream in the Himalaya, very innocent looking stream, can create havoc. So this is picture of Khiro Ganga in Badrinath Valley, just it's near to the Joshimath town upstream. This is the pre-disaster photograph of 2013. Small glacial fed stream, you could even cross it on foot. Well-vegetated slope, seemingly stable, but night of one rainfall mobilized all the paraglacial sediments that was sequestered in the upper part of the valley, and it changed the entire geomorphology, destroying another hydropower project, Vishnu Power Hydro Project, which is located just few meters away from this stream. So these petty streams, small streams, they are capable of generating large magnitude disaster. This is the Vishnu hydropower project before disaster, well-vegetated slopes, stable, all good. This is what happened during the disaster, and this is the condition when we went there in 2019. It's still not functioning to its optimal capacity because so much of sediment has been pushed into the valley that it'll take, we don't know how many seasonal rainfall to push the sediment out. If we talk about the Joshimath town per se, here I have marked it on the map in the Alaknanda Valley. If you can see this dotted line, this roughly marks the extent of this paraglacial zone. That means between the glaciers and this dotted line, there is a lot of sediment stored in, making this particular terrain very vulnerable in event of any extreme rainfall. Also, we have seen avalanches in recent times. This one particular avalanche had happened in 2021 in Girti Valley. If you look at this Google imagery, Joshimath would be here somewhere. This is the Rontigad flood location, 2021 again. And if you travel upstream, cross the STDS, we have the Girti Valley, and here the avalanche had happened, which destroyed the camp of Border Road Organization. So this is another process that we are seeing in the Himalayan region. And as Professor Banerjee was also talking day before yesterday, there was an avalanche in the Malari village. This is what we had already predicted as a vulnerable valley for the avalanche based on our field study. So this is again a Google Earth imagery. And this is the Malari village. This is the field photograph of the Malari village. They are the houses, traditional architecture. They are sitting on, as you can see, a debris avalanche deposit. And we had inferred that this debris here at least contains 5 events of avalanches, which are generated from these cirques. As you can see, are marked by these red arrows. Just for the students, cirques are bowl-shaped or arm-shaped depressions which have been carved out by glaciers in the past. They may be occupied by small glaciers in the present, or they may be empty. But they do have capacity to hold seasonal snow and channelize them into a path, generating an avalanche. So we had already marked this location and also suggested that this is a valley that is prone to avalanches. I'll just skip this one. Okay, now with this background, I'll discuss the crisis of Joshimath town. Whatever I have kind of summarized, be it the geological fragility, the slopes, the hazards, the climate change, they all are applicable to this particular town. Now, this town has a special place because it is a historic, cultural, religious town having a long history. Joshimath actually comes from the word Jyotirmath. It was capital of Katyuri dynasty, and it was established around 7th century AD. Later, Adi Shankaracharya established one of the mutts here. It's also the seat of Lord Badrinath in winters. If we talk about the township itself, this is a photograph taken from drone, courtesy Hemant Dhyani in this January. It is largely suggested to be an old landslide deposit. It was first reported by Hemant Ganser in 1939, who suggested that a ridge fell there and this landslide deposit was generated. Being a landslide deposit, creeping and subsidence has been noted in this particular terrain at least since 1960s. So much so that after locals had started alerting the administration about the creep and the subsidence, Mishra Committee in 1976 was formulated to understand the factors and how to sustain this town, given the very inherent fragile nature of this town. And they had given number of suggestions actually, that no extensive construction should be there in this town. It is a landslide deposit. No boulders should be removed. The toes of the deposit should not be excavated. There should be reinforcement of the river banks. All those recommendations have been given by the Mishra Committee. But as we know, unfortunately, that committee report was dumped somewhere. The recommendations were never They never really percolated down into the policy and the planning of the town. And what we saw was the haphazard growth. This is the recent most picture of the Joshimath town. Quickly, I've already summarized most of the natural factors, but in context of the Joshimath town, this is the geological map. We have high to low grade, medium grade metamorphic rocks, gneisses mostly. Somewhere we have pockets of quartzite also. And as you can see, it is traversed by a number of thrusts and faults here. Here is the Joshimath. If you talk about the slopes, Joshimath town per se does not have a very steep slope. It is on moderate slope, 20 to 30 degree. But if you recall in beginning of the presentation, I suggested that it's not really only the steepness of the slope matters, but if it is weathered, if it is fractured, that also makes the slopes very vulnerable. So it does have that vulnerability factor when it comes to the slope. Another factor that makes this particular town, or for that matter, any town that is located along the MCT in similar geological settings or topographic settings, vulnerable to hazards, would be the onslaught of the monsoon. This is an elevation profile where on x-axis we have the distance from south from Haridwar, and on y-axis we have the elevation. And the blue dotted line that you're seeing here is the rainfall gradient of the ISM, Indian summer monsoon. So as you can see, Joshimath, which is located in the southern mountain front, is on the orographic barrier, bearing the maximum onslaught of the Indian summer monsoon. That means that earth surface processes, erosive processes, are very active in this particular region. If you talk about the drainage of this particular area, as you can see, most of the streams, they are first order, second order streams, again indicating that this terrain is pretty erosive. Although if you look at the Joshimath town, because that is the town in question, we do find there are stabilized streams as well here. I'll come back to this later while explaining the recent events that have happened there. Okay. This Joshimath town is not really a paraglacial zone because there are no large glaciers per se sitting on top of the ridge above the Joshimath, but it is definitely part of the periglacial zone. As you can see, this is the fresh winter snow line, or the extent of the winter snow. That means the terrain is modulated by frost shattering. It is modulated by frozen ice within the soil that leads to solifluction, making the surface or the land creep. And we do see evidence of that. These are field photographs when we have been there in second week of January. So first photograph that you see here, you can see very angular assorted boulders lying there, indicating of the process of frost shattering that is dominant on these slopes. Just above the Joshimath town, there is a skiing resort. If I just quickly go back, somewhere here on this slope, we have the town of Oli, which looks something like this. It is above the tree line. So all the snow that falls in this region, it does percolate down into the deposit, the landslide deposit or the frost shattered deposit, and translates into springs or the stable streams that actually town has been using since it was perhaps established in 7th century AD. So it does have some kind of stable streams or stable subsurface hydrology, which had attained some kind of equilibrium in the past. Other than that, if you go upstream from Joshimath towards Tapovan, we do find there are a number of old landslide deposits suggestive of the fact that the slopes, they are prone to failure here. And this is the Tapovan barrage site here. I'll come back to this also a little later. And Nanda Devi is here at the back. and Rontigad is here from where the 2021 disaster was generated. Okay, so if we talk about Joshimath town per se, and try to discuss the vulnerability, what has made this town live into the crisis that it is facing now. Obviously, first would be the uncontrolled urban. It's like a cancerous growth, not even development. So just for the comparison, first photograph is of 1850. You can see small houses, traditional architecture, largely employing wood and stone. Few in number, population pressure was not much, and probably this deposit could sustain that. Of course, they have been reporting that this town was yet creeping even in the past, but it was not at an alarming rate to threaten the lives of the people. But as the time passed by, the needs of the population grew. Haphazard growth took place in the town. As you can see, concrete jungle has come up there. Absolutely no regulation. Unfortunately, we really don't have any plan for the Himalayan villages. I'm from Himachal, so I know that whatever plans, rules, they exist only in paper, and they are really not enforced. So this is, I believe this is lacking on our part, that we really don't have any kind of plan for the Himalayan urban towns, how the urbanization should take place. One of the most important factor that happens in this urban growth is that you strangulate the natural drainage pathways. There are certain natural drainage pathways within this landslide deposit, which later got occupied by the haphazard random construction. So whatever the natural pathway where the water was, it got obstructed and it started making its own way, which is, again, it's not exclusive problem to Joshimath, but again, because we don't have any policy or planning pertaining to how the urbanization should take place in these villages, it's kind of a mushroom growth. Another major anthropogenic if we see it from that perspective, that took place in 2009. It is not a recent one, but that took place in 2009. And while excavation, there are published reports to suggest that this tunnel boring machine, it punctured the local aquifers there, which led to the widening of the cracks as far as 12 meters. But surprisingly, whatever water that ingressed into the tunnel, that immediately was not transferred into the town. We don't know whether it drained directly into the river or it got stored somewhere along the fractures. We really don't have any idea. We can only speculate. Okay. But yes, this was one of the major anthropogenic activity. And again, I would like to reiterate, this was against the recommendation of Mishra Committee, which had advocated that no major disturbance should be generated in this terrain. And of course, road widening project was launched later in 2018. Also, we know that in Rontigad or Rishi Ganga, there was a flood in 2021. And actually, locals had observed that it was after this flood that most of the acceleration in creeping started. Now, there is no scientific data to prove it. It is what locals have suggested. So we really don't have any way to prove it or disaccount for it. But in any case, this could increase the instability of this particular town in one way. That is, I'll just explain that in a bit. For students, I'll just explain a little bit about the strategy, what had happened. So there was a rock failure, wedge-shaped failure in Rontigad. It traveled along the narrow valley in form of a debris flow. It also blocked Rishi Ganga along the way, creating a massive lake there. with impounding of about 20 to 30 meter high. Fortunately, this lake did not breach catastrophically. It was drained gradually. However, the initial debris flow that was generated, it killed over 200 people, largely along the site of the barrage into the tunnel, actually. The water and sediment was plugged in there. So these are the pictures of hydropower project, which was completely destroyed. This is before the disaster. You can see a lot of infrastructure. There's a bridge and everything is gone here. It's just muck. Bridge is also gone. And this was the condition of the Pawan barrage. Also, there was sediment bulking of 10 meters. This is, I'm explaining this literally, again, for the benefit of students. Others might be aware of it. Hydropower projects or any natural obstruction to the river. It could be houses also, or it could be landslides also. Natural and anthropogenic obstructions both. Whenever you're obstructing pathway of a debris-laden water, you are making a temporary impounding or a temporary dam, something similar to landslide dam. Of course, it will not be able to hold the natural flow of the water and sediment. It would breach. But by then, it would have accumulated enough water to amplify the impact of disasters. This has been again and again seen in case of disasters in Himalaya in 2013 also, and in 2021 also. Wherever this debris-laden flood did not have any obstruction in the valley, the extent or the height of the flood along the valley walls that we measured in field was only 5 to 7 meters. But along this barrage, it was nearly double, up to 10 meters. So yes, we have amplified the natural disasters as well. Also, these sediment-laden waters, they are very potent erosive agents. When this crosses unstable slopes like those of Joshimath landslide, it would enhance the toe-cutting erosion also there. And that is now being demonstrated on the slope. This is also a recent photograph. These are the slopes just above the barrage. The entire slope has been destabilized after the Rishiganga flood. And God forbid, if this fails catastrophically, it will block the river again, creating another disaster, another dam, which will lead to flooding of the river. So this is also a ticking time bomb there. Coming to the Joshimath crisis per se, you may have been seeing these images flashed all across the media. So, for example, the first image you are seeing, the fissured and the cracked grounds here. The cracks, they have extended to the walls of the houses as wide as half a feet. This is a damaged staircase. Roads are not spared. Also, we observed a lot of potholes. It's like the land is becoming hollow. Fine sediments are being removed from this particular deposit, and the entire landmass is unstable. Now, very interesting thing happened in Joshimath. Of course, since past 1 year, locals, they have been raising alarm about the widening cracks in the houses, particularly in one zone. I'll show an image for that as well. But on 2nd January 2023, a new stream emerged in Joshimath. If you remember in earlier slide, I showed the clean water stream, which has been flowing there since ages, at least we know for generations, and it is supplying water to the town. But do you want to say something? So on 2nd January 2023, a new stream, it emanated from the town, which was mucky. It was not clean water. It had a lot of silt. And important factor was that there has been no recent snow, no rainfall when this sudden burst of or puncturing of water happened.
Sorry, 1 minute. Uttam Mondal, can you switch off your microphone? Uttam Mondal. What is? Okay, madam, carry on.
So what was striking was that on 2nd of January, there was no rain, no snow, but yet suddenly there was emergence of this stream flowing vigorously, pumping in a lot of silty clay water. Many institutes have sampled this water, trying to understand from where this water has come up. Maybe when we have results, we'll have a better understanding of the process. But as of now, we don't know really what has happened. What we can do is only have some kind of educated guesses. Now, this is the Google Earth imagery. Based on our field observation, I would like to just highlight a few important points. Firstly, the mucky stream that I just showed in the previous slide has emerged here, just above the JP colony here. It has destabilized the entire JP colony and also the ellipsoidal area called the Singhdar area that you're seeing. These are the houses that have been damaged largely, and also this muck stream has emerged on this slope. When you look at these nalas, 80 nalas here, these are the stabilized nalas. They have been flowing there for quite some time. Minor subsidence is also observed in this area, and third zone, which is, third in degree also, so far the subsidence and creeping is concerned, is concentrated along this zone. So 3 zones we identified in field which are undergoing the maximum damage. The yellow dots that you're seeing here, they appear more like lineaments or natural fractures. Along this also we have clean water, stabilized second to third order streams located on this landslides. Why I'm showing all of this? Because probably the existence of second to third order streams on this deposits or the presence of stabilized escarpments here, which are marked by these orange lines here, they are indicative of some kind of delicate equilibrium that this particular deposit had attained over a period of time, which has got disturbed recently, more vigorously recently. We don't know really what has happened. So I'm going to just list a couple of reasons which we think would have happened, but they remain largely speculative. Of course, there are the natural conditions. We are talking about fragile terrain. We are talking about active earth surface processes, the colluvium and landslide deposit, the continuous creep that this particular zone has been showing. All these things, and of course, the location of the Joshimath itself, because it is on the southern mountain front, bearing the onslaught of monsoon. All these things, they are making it vulnerable. However, anthropogenic intervention has increased or interference has increased exponentially in the recent years. Yes, urban growth is there, including major structures, both of the locals, both of the power projects, the commercial infrastructure, all that has overburdened the land. Major infrastructure development has also taken place there. There has been reporting of use of explosives here, which would have damaged the delicate balance of this terrain and accelerated the creep. Okay, this I have explained already, that there has been accelerated rate since last year and sudden emergence of the debris-laden stream. So speculatively, we believe that anthropogenic intervention, yes, they do have to do something with the sudden destabilization of this land, and probably it does have, it is related to the release of the water that we saw recently. But we don't have any idea right now from that where that water is coming from. So it does appear that there's some kind of complex interaction going on between the natural factors, and we have added woes to that, those natural vulnerability. And the puncturing of the recent streams, emergence of the recent streams, they do indicate some kind of disequilibrium within the purged water aquifers in this landslide. And definitely the carrying capacity of the terrain, it has been exceeded. At least we can say that much. And to conclude anything, implicate anything, I think we would need more detailed scientific investigation for the Joshimath town. But I believe the million-dollar question here is that can Joshimath disaster become a turning point? changing our approach to a more sustainable one. Because in 2013, when we faced such a major disaster, so many people died, a lot of infrastructure was lost, we thought that our approach towards the development perspective of the Himalayan villages would see a fresh light. We'll think from a new light. Or rather, maybe we will use the wisdom of our ancestral architecture, their wisdom of the terrain, and incorporate that into our development plan. That did not happen. 2021, we got another warning from Ronti. That has also probably got unheard. What I really hope is that Joshimath crisis really makes us think as a society, makes our policymakers rethink their approach towards the development for the Himalayan villages, because it is just not Joshimath town that is reeling under threats like what we have discussed. There are multiple villages across the Himalaya which are reeling under such threats. So thank you very much.
So, thank you, Dr. Sharma, for this engrossing deliberation.
Excellent talk, Shubhra. Excellent.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. I would be happy to discuss anything that I know of, because I'm also not very sure of what things are happening, but I'll be happy to discuss.
Hello.
Yeah. Professor Parihar.
Yes. Yeah. Ma'am, it was very, I mean, informative and thought-provoking, I mean, lecture. Just I want to note that there is any, I mean, smart city, I mean, growing or a proposal site in that Himalaya zone, so that the, I mean, the docile people of the religious site, they can be shifted and settled down.
You said smart city?
Yeah, in Himalayan zone.
Can you define the term smart? What do you think about
smart in the sense they, I mean, they face the minimum vulnerabilities to me.
Unfortunately, we don't have any such plan. I mean, I've seen people giving example about, oh, we have Alps also, but they don't take the example of Alps where they have marked every inch of land, defined red, green, yellow zones there, where you have construction allowed, where you don't have construction allowed, what kind of construction, how many people. We don't need smart city, we need entire zonal plan for the entire Himalayan range. So there's none.
Absolutely correct.
Yeah, ma'am, it's a very nice deliberation, is eye-opening that lecture for all of us. And you have brought the ground, that the scenery and that structure also. Don't you see anything from the angle of the tectonic, which is you have a little bit, a little bit difficult to reach out? Is it only you have elaborate about the deposition, landslide, and the emergence of the muddy? Don't you see there is some tectonic instability suddenly, which is not appeared, but because of that there is a
right. I got your question. Mm-hmm. When I'm talking about MCT zone, when I'm talking about multiple fractures and thrust there, when I'm talking about microseismicity, I am talking about tectonics. I'm not talking about tectonics in form of a major earthquake, which I hope we don't see in our lifetime in Uttarakhand, Himalaya. We talk about the central seismic gap there. I'm not talking about that kind of earthquake. Otherwise, we would have known the trigger, right? We would have felt it. But yes, subtle tectonics is, of course, there. That is what is making the fractures or the bedrock so vulnerable there. Weathered slopes, when I'm talking about. Tectonics is very much there.
You talk about a seismic gap, but that's wrong. Uttarkashi had major earthquake.
Yeah, but they say that another one is due.
No, that's wrong. That's the wrong concept.
Okay, fine. I stand corrected.
And then one correction which you like you to make. I mean,
Yes.
sorry if you don't mind it. There is no such word like a Hindu Kush Himalaya.
Well, it is
No,
used.
because they are two different mountains. Hindu Kush is a
No,
different
it is
mountain.
defined
Himalaya
as a
is different.
region. No, it is
No,
defined as a
it cannot.
region.
You have to put a Hindu Kush dash Himalaya. Hindu
Okay,
Kush is a
fine.
mountain. Hindu Kush is a separate mountain, and Himalaya is a separate mountain.
It is defined as a region, but
No,
It's not region.
the western part of Pamir Knot is Hindu Kush and the eastern part is Himalayan arc.
so it's combined form.
But
It
Hindu
is the
Kush is not called
combined
Himalaya.
region.
Yes,
No,
yes.
it is the combined region.
Hindu Kush is never called Himalaya.
Yes, that is right.
It is the Hindu Kush Himalayan region.
Hindu Kush hyphen Himalaya.
Hindu Kush dash Himalayan region.
No, reason is Hindu Kush is a separate, Himalaya is a separate, but it is mentioned together.
One
the
mountain
Hindu Kush
is
Himalaya.
like that. One mountain is like this.
Yeah, it is combined as a region. I was not implying as a mountain chain. It is a region.
Word Hindu Kush Himalaya is a wrong. Is a misnomer.
See, in many scientific journals, people uses the terminology from their own.
Yeah, they can use it.
Yeah, from they do not verify.
No, see, Google says it very easily. Yeah. two different mountains.
Alexa.
No, Madam Shubhra, just I have enjoyed your presentation. Of course,
excellent presentation.
Yes, only at the last slide technique, but in our country nobody recognizes us. This is the problem.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
So what is your question about this? That
I do not have any question. I have some suggestion that we know your last slide that everybody knows that turning point is this one. We know scientists will do their work, but there is lack of this opportunity from political and administrative point of view.
Yes, sir. I believe, sir, that yes, of course, as a scientist, as an academician, that is we are doing our job, and that is the best that we do. But I believe at the forums like this, like you've invited to talk about Joshimath crisis, we're also creating an awareness.
Yes,
and the pressure would come from the people. And if scientists will not speak in public, then things will not change.
Yes, that's true. Absolutely correct.
So
they must speak in public.
So they must speak in public, in front of government officials, in front of non-government officials, in front of politicians. If you keep mum, nothing will change.
Yeah. See, I'll tell you one example. Sir, I am taking 2 minutes. In 2004, we had organized one international workshop on landslides in Sikkim and Darjeeling Himalayas. And the field base was in Kalijhora, Bangalore for Darjeeling Himalaya. That time, Tista Barrage was under construction. 16 countries, geomorphologists, geologists, they had come. And I asked one question to one of the project leaders there, that what scientific knowledge allowed you to construct this Tista Barrage dam here? The Tista Barrage, upside this, there are 4 tiers of dams. So now this is creating huge amount of hydraulic pressure in the upstream side and huge amount of landslides are taking place. So we know, scientists know, geologists know, geomorphologists know, all people individually, they know from their own, they are doing their good work. But if the pressure comes from upside, if it is already decided, we cannot do anything, even we shout. So that is.
I would like to maintain an optimistic view here.
Yeah. Of course.
And try until our last breath. Maybe there are examples. I mean, see, that's what I'm saying. That yes, I know. 2013, nothing happened, nothing changed. 2021, nothing changed. There's another hue and cry about this. So I would like to see this as an opportunity also from our community also to speak up at least and create a pressure group.
Yeah, that will do. Continue. Even from our organization, we'll try to do.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Shantan.
Is there any other question from any participants?
Yes, I can see many of the young geomorphologists out there, especially the ones working on the mountainous regions.
But no question. That means it was a beautiful presentation.
Yes, really, it
Shubhra,
was
I
a
would
very
like to
or
have.
insightful presentation.
or nobody understood anything and
No,
nobody's
no,
interested.
it's not so interesting.
Either
Shubhra,
of the two.
may I just, I want one of your photographs, 1850 Joshimath, if you can
Okay.
send it to me.
Yeah, sure. I'll mail it to you.
Please.
Yes.
So anyone?
I think
Yes, sir. Can I ask a question?
Yes, definitely. Nawaz,
Yes,
please introduce yourself.
sir. I am Nawaz Sharif. I'm a student at International Institute for Population Science. So basically, I'm a demographer. So actually, I was doing some analysis regarding that improved shelter facility, housing facility in different hazardous zones in India. So my question was like, there are houses in floodplains areas. There are houses in high earthquake risk zones. There are houses in landslide zones. So, ma'am, what is the way out of taking it as making it very we get very low risk, and we can build our houses also. Like Mike, what will be the suggestion to people or to the government that for a floodplain areas where houses should build, or what are the materials should be used? Like I was analyzing, so India have 60% of households that have a pakka houses, and the rest of them they have not pakka houses. If you go in earthquake areas, it is a little less pakka houses. So I was not able to draw some conclusion like what should be done this,
What should be done for
or what is the way out, like what could be the possible solution, like for making a house, or how to choose a place for building a house like that.
uh, this is a very difficult question, how to choose a building. See, normally what happens is we don't have a plan. That is the problem. If I have a land in Joshimath, uh, most of these people, they are living in the border areas, Malari village, Niti village. Like we all want to have a better education for our children, better health facility. They also want to have the same because there are none in those areas. So the next township is Joshimath. They buy a piece of land and they settle there. Now, until unless you have some administrative system, some government plan to do soil testing, to make zones high, low, vulnerable, no construction, or some construction. How am I supposed to? I'll just go buy their land and I'll construct whatever is available with. We don't have that kind of thinking percolated in our system. जो चल रहा है वो चल रहा है बस.
That's true. That's true.
now another answer would be, can we reduce our greediness? If we cannot reduce, we have no answer.
Sir, I'll ask you. I mean, whose greediness? Local people greediness,
Everybody is greedy.
I don't know. That would be great, but I think that would be very impractical. So we do need to have a plan that what is sustainable and what is not.
Yeah, that is right.
So,
We
hello.
keep on justifying our greed. That's the problem. Like in Delhi, you have the entire Akshardham temple right on the floodplain, the Jamuna plain, and huge number of houses and Commonwealth game was constructed right on the Jamuna plain. In spite of so much of protest and everything, nothing happened.
It's a pity. It's a pity.
It's a pity. Yes.
So I have one question. Myself, Dr. Mansi Devnath.
Hello, Mansi.
It was really very outstanding presentation, Professor Shubhra. So as usual, scientists are doing their work and they're presenting very well presentations and as well as the papers. But through this, if we can able to aware the local people, as we know, the mountains people are really very, very much, they have unity within them. So if we can able to aware themselves using this technical terms as well as the technical results like carrying capacity. So, can you say, give me any reflection about the carrying capacity of present day of Joshimath? So, whether it is already at its limit or it exceeds or like that, as a layman, because I haven't visited Joshimath or the local people who haven't any idea about that carrying capacity and like that. So I would like to know about this thing, about the carrying capacity of this kind of local area in mountainous region.
Yeah, Mansi, you have asked a very pertinent question actually. And unfortunately, again, there are no studies whatsoever for such kind of villages or any villages for the carrying capacity. Though NTPC had done some kind of survey with help of GSI for their own colony, and they had demonstrated, I mean, they had calculated engineers that 80 ton, I think, per square meter, that particular place, that patch of land is stable. I mean, it can hold that much of load. But we don't have a detailed plan of, and I don't even know if that is true because that is also subsiding. So we don't have a comprehensive plan. How much is the carrying capacity? And it's a very pertinent question.
Because even within the Himalayan region, different areas have different type of carrying capacity of land. Not
Yes.
only the agriculture in terms of not only the agricultural area. So in terms of Sikkim, a particular area, the very like small holes of land will have different type of carrying capacity. I think we should also look after this type of work. So, and not only we should not only restrict to the our community, it also has to be reached to the local people so that they can also work with that. And
actually, local people are smarter than us. They reached us and they asked us to, I mean, do the preliminary report. So they are very well aware.
Right. Even I would like to share one thing, like in North Sikkim area, the people, local people are not really allowed the outsiders, especially the tourists or any other people, to carrying the plastic bottles and all others, only single time using things. So this is their awareness, and they are practicing practically. So that this is the that means outreach and the awareness program that is really affected, not affected, like really the local people are practicing and they're able to managing the environment as a. Thank you.
I think there's a question in chat box. Can I take that?
Surely. Dipanita, yes.
Okay. Can removal of the previously deposited debris and following their own house architecture model of Himalayan villages in terms of tourism also, than making high construction part of solution. Yes, it can be part of solution, Dipavita, but I'm not sure how would you remove previously deposited debris. There would be no land left. In Himalayas, basically most of the villages, they are actually occupied. They have, I mean, occupied old landslide debris which have stabilized over geological period of time. But yes, that terrain is very delicate. You cannot just bulldoze it as you like, maybe in plains. It does have very delicate thresholds, which we have not quantified anywhere. So removal, we cannot remove debris from where will you throw that much, right? And traditional architecture is, of course, one answer, but unfortunately, resources are so much limited if you talk about in terms of population and the local material that was used in that architecture, that was wood and stone. We call it kaat kunni or jod tod ki technique. They have a jointed pillar like structure like this, which are earthquake resistant also, and they make 5-storied buildings also with that. But with the kind of population growth, those kind of things are not possible. But we do have modern technology with us. We have not explored the option of lighter construction material or combining these techniques with the modern material. So that is, yes, definitely part of the solution. What are you suggesting? The architecture.
I think we have a very nice discussion, And if we can continue, I think there will be a lot of questions because it was really very insightful deliberation, and we really came to know what is happening over the Joshimath. Either is it the outcome of development process, or it is really a geomorphological or geological process. So thank you, madam. Thank you so much for your nice deliberation. I think we are at the edge of this session. Now, I may request Dr. Manushi Devnath. She is the newly elected president of the Young Geomorpholist Forum of India. So I request Manushi to offer a vote of thanks. It's over to you, Manushi.
Thank you so much, Kapilda. It is an honor to present the vote of thanks on behalf of the IGI Young Geomorphologist Forum. The forum would like to thank International Association of Geomorphologists for their supporting us with their auspicious. We also thank the Indian Institute of Geomorphologists, Allahabad, for their kind support. Especially, we would like to thank Professor Sunil Kumar Dev, President of IAG, for his immense help to make this event happen within a very short time. Besides, we are also thankful to our guest, Professor A.R. Siddiqui, Secretary General of IGI, for his kind presence in this occasion. I would also like to show our hearty gratitude to both of the distinguished speakers of today, Professor Dheeraj Mohan Banerjee and Professor Shubhra Sharma, for sharing their views and experiences related to the real-time and burning issues over the Himalayan terrain, like geology, slope, constituent materials, rainfall, and the distinction from the source of earthquakes, seismicity, different glacial, paraglacial, periglacial processes, those destabilize the topography, leading to the disasters. Additionally, anthropogenic activities further enhance the possibilities of those hazards more frequently. And most importantly, thanks to all the participants for their showing interest in this special issue and of this lecture session. And I'm sure you all had a great time listening to the speakers, exchanging the knowledge as well. With this, I am hereby concluding this program, and thank you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Thank you
everyone.
all. Thank you, everyone.
So, 1 minute. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, Shantan, Kopil, Mansi, Shab, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, sir.
Sunilda.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
We end up with a clap for everybody for Sunil Day. Sunil Day.
Oh, sir, for everybody is there. Even I am not
You
the
have organized it. Wonderful. Very good.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. इशू कैसे निकलेंगे बाहर कैसे
স্যার এই ইউটিউবে এটা স্ট্রিমিং আছে আর কি দেখলাম
আপনি বেরিয়ে গেছেন নাকি
লিভ করে দিচ্ছি তাহলে
কপিল একটা আমি তো ব্যাপার বলছিলাম স্যার তো এখন আছেন মানসী আছে সুমন্ত্র আছে
না আমরা মিটিংটা শেষ করে কথা বলছি